The presidents of Ghana, Nigeria and Senegal are to visit Burkina Faso to press the military for a speedy handover of power to a civilian ruler. The African Union, says the army acted unconstitutionally when it took over after President Blaise Compaoré was forced to resign on Friday. The on Monday gave the army a 2-week deadline. Interim leader Lieutenant Colonel Isaac Zida later promised to comply. Mr. Compaoré quit after mass protests at his bid to extend his 27-year rule. Welcome to stay. Representing the West African regional body ECOWAS, Senegalese President Macky Sall, Goodluck Jonathan of Nigeria and Ghana's John Mahama are expected to arrive in the capital Ouagadougou later on Wednesday. A statement from President Jonathan's office said the three-man ECOWAS delegation aimed to facilitate the rapid resolution of the current political crisis in Burkina Faso. They will hold a series of meetings to press for the quick handover, following a threat by the OAU to impose sanctions if the military did not act within 2 weeks. The BBC's Emmanuel Agunza in the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa says the sanctions could include suspension of Burkina Faso's OAU membership and a travel ban on military officials. After meetings with opposition leaders and activists, Lieutenant Colonel Zida was on Tuesday quoted as saying that he would comply with the demand. If everyone agrees, there is no reason that the transition shouldn't be done within 2 weeks, he said, according to union leader Joseph Shendrebi Ogo, the AFP news agency reports. Opposition leaders have not entirely ruled out a role for the military in the transition. Lieutenant Colonel Zida was previously second in command of the Presidential Guard. Amid the protests, Mr. Compaoré fled to neighboring Ivory Coast and is currently staying in the capital Yamoussoukro. France, the former colonial power, has admitted helping in the evacuation of Mr. Compaoré. Ivorian leader Alassane Ouattara has said Mr. Compaoré is welcome to stay as he helped bring peace to Ivory Coast during unrest following elections in 2010. But correspondents say the former Burkina president's presence in Ivory Coast has divided public opinion as some considered that he sided with Mr. Ouattara during that crisis. As a mediator, he helped his Ivorian brothers resume dialogue. That is why, naturally, we welcome him here, following the painful events that shook our neighbor, President Ouattara said after visiting him in the capital. We want the transition to take place in a peaceful and constitutional process. President Compaoré will stay in Ivory Coast as long as he wishes. The streets of Ouagadougou were reported calm on Tuesday. The OAU's Peace and Security Council is expected to meet again later this month to discuss the crisis, he says. Under Burkina Faso's constitution, the head of the National Assembly should take office if the president resigns. Mr. Compaoré first seized power in a coup in 1987, and thereafter won 4 disputed elections. The protests were triggered by his plan to amend the constitution so that he could run for office again in elections next year.